On Overdrive today, we put 4 of the hottest electric scooters through an all-day range test to find out which would be the last e-scooter standing. We also catch up with Skoda India's new brand director. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soni Dutt. In the past few years, we've seen many manufacturers foray into the electric scooter space. In fact, Hero MotoCorp, the largest two-wheeler manufacturer in India, has also recently launched the Vida S1 Pro. Unfortunately, for our e-scooters comparison test, we weren't able to bring this scooter, but we have 4 of the hottest electric scooters in the market today.
With every new week, there is a new electric two-wheeler in the market. And Chris from our team has been having a good time riding all of them. In fact, Chris, you're the rock star. You finally got 4 top-of-the-line electric two-wheelers under one roof. We've been trying this for a very long time, haven't we?
Yes, it's been a long time coming, Rohit. So we finally managed to get our hands on 4 of the big guns in the business, top shelf scooters. We all know of their skill sets, what they have to offer, their prices and everything. But now 100% charge, 4 scooters, which is going to be the last man standing. We are going to find out. We are going to answer everyone's questions on range anxiety today.
So this is going to be a range test of sorts, is it?
Pretty much. Eco mode, 100% charge. Let's see who's the last man standing.
Okay, let's get on with it.
While the battery capacities of each scooter are diverse, each of these has enough range on paper to easily pull off daily commutes in most cities of India without really running out of charge. Even easier if you're still working from home. But the range anxiety really arises when you're looking at an extra urban riding cycle, meaning you probably live on the outskirts of a metro city, commute long distances in the rush hour traffic to enter the city, park in public spaces that have no charging stations, and then do the long commute back home in the evening. Sounds familiar to many, doesn't it? Hence this test, which replicated this entire cycle and then some more to cover a 100-kilometer loop. We got 2 guest riders on this test, Nachiket Bhatt and Sushil Chavan, and we started off by going downhill to hit some B roads and winding stretches so all of us could get a hang of the scooter's weight and handling manners. The Chetak and the iQube have the least learning curve, so to say, and feel like an easy transition if you're coming from conventional petrol-powered scooters. Both scooters also feel easy for shorter riders and more ergonomically sound than the Ather or the Ola. These outsiders, so to say, feel sportier, and the Ola with its widest rubber is also more confident around the bends, and while zipping through traffic, its superior power shines through, provided you are in any other riding mode than Eco, because this one seriously strangles the top speed and the acceleration to dangerously low levels and beats the purpose of what it set out to do. The standard mode is what you would want to be in and is on par with the eco mode of all the other scooters. From this perspective, the riding modes on the Ather are more dependable and true to their name.
So we spent the better half of the morning riding the 4 scooters in and around Pune city, B roads, in eco mode all throughout. We started off at 100% charge. Right about now, after 30 kilometers, all the scooters are still showing over 80% of charge. So that's a really good thing. 30 kilometers, 80% of charge. So we have a fair understanding of how these scooters are going to function throughout the city in eco mode alone. So range-wise, they all seem to be holding up quite well. We have a good understanding of how the scooters fare in terms of comfortability, how comfortable they are. And to me, the TVS iQube has to be the most comfortable scooter from the 4 out here. And the Chetak, unfortunately, I think takes the lowest step on this particular pedestal. It feels a little skittish over the rough surfaces. The roads haven't been smooth all throughout. We've had a bit of inclines, declines, and rutted surfaces, slimy, greasy surfaces as well, because it's been raining around parts of the city. Now we're taking a break for lunch. We're going to head out onto the highway, head off to Baner. Not too sure whether we're going to stick to eco mode because it might get a little tricky out on the highway. But let's see how it goes.
Speaking of weight, the Ola S1 Pro definitely feels the heavier of the lot. Not so much on the move, but definitely when moving it on your feet in tight spots. This is because the batteries are in the floor, but this also liberates most room under the seat.
So what we are doing now is a bit of a practicality test. 2 kgs of vegetables, can these scooters handle them? You're going to find out. मला 2 किलो बटाटे द्या ना. They're all terrible at negotiation skills. They're at a veggie shop and no one asks for free coriander, no one asks for free mint. But I hope that they figure out how to open or access the boot. And there it goes, it opens. So the good thing about the Chetak is that that's the size of the charger. That's it, that's the pack. The entire charger unit sits in this little pouch. So you have a lot of space for your veggies and the charger and some more.
The Chetak's boot is a bit of a hit and miss. Generous on paper, but shallow in practice. And while it swallows the groceries, it doesn't leave much room for anything else. And this is despite being the only one to have a glove compartment and a compact charging unit that fits right in it. The iQube and the Ather do better space management in comparison, but the big charging units take up quite a bit of space. The Ather fast charging grid is a saving grace though, and in all probability, you might already find one on your daily route, meaning that you can afford to leave the bulky charger behind if you need all of the storage space. The Ola has the biggest under-seat storage and can easily swallow groceries and a small helmet even with the bulky charger in place.
Find out which electric scooter is the last one standing after a long, hard day of range testing. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive. Welcome back, you're watching Overdrive. Now, when you're testing the range of every electric scooter, you're not only going to ride it in eco mode, you're also going to want to test the outright acceleration of these e-scooters, which is why we tested all of them in their different modes and through the day try to find out which of these would come out on top.
Now with the grocery shop floor and almost 60 kilometers down on each scooter, we hit a 5-kilometer long highway section, albeit busy and full of fast-moving traffic. So anything less than sport mode would have been dangerous on these EVs. So with enough juice in the batteries, the power modes were summoned. And we even had a traffic light drag of sorts. These modes certainly depleted the range estimates much more than we expected. And to make matters worse, we soon hit a typical bumper-to-bumper traffic jam. Back to the eco modes then, standard for the Ola. Even after a couple of hours of riding in heavy traffic, the scooters refuse to die. While the Ola ticks all the right boxes on the range, features and aesthetics, the Ather 450X at a little bit more money feels like the better finished product and a more reliable product at that on all those counts. But it is the TVS iQube that promises tremendous value for its asking price by not only matching the Ola and the Ather on most of the notable features, but also feeling the most comfortable and easygoing at the same time, all of which helps it pip the Chetak. In fact, the Chetak in its current form has very little going for it, apart from the promise of being a Bajaj product.
Alright guys, I think that's it for me. Right now it's showing 12% state of charge. Range is 11 kilometers. All sorts of flashy things going on. Gave me first indications at around 25% of charge, where it stopped going into sport mode, it just kept to eco. Now after 13, when it reached 13% remaining of battery, that's when this little indication started flickering here on the dash, telling me that I should be thinking about stopping somewhere and charging it.
But in the last man standing format of this test, it was the first to run out of charge and the Bajaj needed some help from KTM to save the day.
I have battery, but because it's critically low, it is stuck in eco mode. I cannot change modes, and on eco mode it wouldn't climb this incline. So pushing using a little bit of assistance from those motors, that's the only way forward. He doesn't even have juice. So no
amount of battery. Well, we thought it would be the last man standing, but we seem to be the first guys pushing.
So who won the challenge then? Let's take a look.
And the last man standing is this, the Ather 450X Gen 3. Very long name. very long day. And
a long day.
at one point it looked like it's going to be a very close battle, right, between all four of them.
Yep.
And then in that last 10%, I think everything just fell apart. Everything just looked so different.
Yep.
I think if we were to plot a graph of our preferences from these scooters during the day, it would just go up and down, up and down, up and down between all the four scooters, because there is something good about each and every one of them. I think let's start off with the Chetak. That's the first one that conked off.
So
Technically.
Yep, that was the first one to actually run out of charge completely. We drained the battery completely. So it did around 80 kilometers till it reached around 13%. That's when we said, okay, fine, we're gonna like call it a day for this, because we have to get back to a charging point, and we are pretty much in the middle of nowhere at that point.
True.
So 80 kilometers, eco mode for most part. Oh yes, but we did cheat a bit. We didn't keep to our standard of eco mode, because of course we did hit the highway at one point. We did around 5 kilometers maybe of that, but kept to eco for most part.
For most
So,
part.
Yes, that's a really good thing. 80 kilometers on the Chetak, man, we thought it would conk it like.
Exactly, with the kind of battery capacity that it has on paper, we thought it would conk off much earlier, which it didn't. That was a very good surprise. The other surprise is how easy it feels to, ride around in the city. Yes, the seat, none of us were a fan of the seat. In terms of the comfort as well, I think none of us really enjoyed that seat so much after riding it with the other scooters. But the other bits of it, it feels quite nice. I mean, that conservative approach that Bajaj has towards the power delivery, towards how it manages the battery, I think that sort of shines through quite nicely.
A very well put together scooter.
Yeah. The iQube was also quite a revelation here. I think that's the most outlandish scooter of the four that we did. But it also feels the most natural, right? In the way it decelerates, in the way the braking works. All these electric scooters, the moment you hit the brakes, of course, they sort of, they cut the power abruptly on some of the scooters like the Ola. It's quite abrupt. But on the iQube, I think it just felt very natural. It just felt like a regular scooter, right? If you're upgrading from a regular petrol scooter to the iQube, it feels so natural.
Yes,
so despite looking so outlandish, it's the most natural feeling. That's what I like about the iQube.
Yep. It definitely feels exactly as a normal, regular ICE scooter. Performs exactly so. The way it handles, the amount of weight it has on the bars. It just feels so natural. And the suspension, man, is what I think it was the most comfiest
it is
scooter.
The seat plus the suspension, I think the most comfortable of this bunch. And even when we did that 5 kilometers of power riding, it was keeping
there.
up.
It
It
was
was
there.
right
It was
there.
right
It was
there,
keeping
yeah.
up with the Ather.
That
It
was
was
the
keeping
brilliant
up
part
with the
of it.
Ola, and
That
that's
was
what I
awesome.
loved about it. So, despite all of that, not finishing last, finishing second last, I think I'm quite impressed.
Even the upgrades that they've carried out for this 2022 model,
Right.
as you mentioned before, the display, the bigger screen, that small joystick control that you have
Exactly.
to get into the interface.
So there is enough of the newness to it
Yes.
while not feeling outlandish. That's what I love about it. So if I had to put my money on a traditional brand in an EV, I think it would be the
makes sense. Yep.
same for you. I believe.
Yeah.
So now
Good
moving to
choice.
the outsiders, the startups,
If you want to call them that.
if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
So moving to that, I think the Ola, that is the one that finished third last. Up until one point, it was neck to neck with the Ather, and I was starting to tilt towards the Ola. I like the power delivery. I also like how the different modes work. And then 15% battery remaining. It just says critically low battery, and it locks it in eco mode. And after that, the scooter just wouldn't climb any of the inclines, and that was a big problem. I think that is where it lost out for me, because in that critical moment, on an incline or a hilly section like this, I just couldn't do anything here. I had to literally push the scooter, and that was a big problem. So it was a leveler of sorts. It just leveled things with the Chetak. Despite having more juice left, despite having more range left, in these conditions on those inclines, it technically just leveled with the Chetak. It went right down there, and both of us had to literally push those two scooters up the incline. So yeah, that is where the Ola, I think, lost out. Otherwise, the Ola.
The amount of features you don't need to log in with your phone, connect your phone to the scooter.
I
use
love the
maps.
display. The display is really nice.
Awesome
Even
stuff,
the
yeah.
UI that they've done, the colors that they've used, I think it's all very nice. So overall, it's a very nice scooter. So it's just how it managed that last critical bit. That is where I felt a little cheated by the scooter. That I had to do what the scooter wanted to do, and that is where the Ather clearly edged ahead, because the Ather, like I said, was neck to neck, and it did not force a particular mode on us. So it is technically the last man standing, and by the nature of this test, the winner of this test as well,
Yep.
right? Because how it manages its handling dynamics, because how it manages the battery, the power, everything. I think that's my pick from the outsiders, as we like to call them. So
Yep.
the Ather would be my pick.
Definitely the Ather, man, it just took everything away. From the rider handling, yes, it is a bit on the stiffer side, so if you have like a couple of back issues or something like that, then you might want to feel
Yes.
that you need to choose one of the others.
Exactly. Maybe the iQ, maybe the Ola. The Ola has a very nice seat as well. But I think, yeah, if we had to pick out the two winners from the traditional manufacturers, it's the iQ for us, and from the startups, the new brands, it's the Ather 450X.
Yep. So good going, Ather.
Of course, when you're buying any of these electric scooters, range and price is of priority. So let us know in our comment section on our YouTube channel which of these electric scooters would be your pick. We'll take a very quick break, but on the other side, we'll catch up with the new brand director of Skoda India to find out what the brand's electrification plans are for the future.